tool to meditate with if you wanted to open that third eye chakra or open up your own intuition. You can carry it with you. People don't understand there's no right and there's no wrong. It's whatever feels right to you. If it feels good to hold it, hold it. If it feels good to carry it, carry it. If you want to wear it, wear it. There's no right and wrong. And I think so many times people, like you say, are looking for the formula. They're stuck on, it's got to be this way. There's got to be a right way and a wrong way. And there isn't. There really, really isn't. This here is called rose quartz, and it comes polished, and it comes in like the amethyst, unpolished. And this resonates to the heart chakra. So it's a really good stone for grief. It's a really good stone if I'm doing a reading for somebody that's maybe lost a child, lost a partner, and they want to connect. I'll often give them this stone to hold, to carry with them, to help them deal with the grief, help them get past the hurt. It just helps heal the heart. It raises your self-esteem, just gives you a boost of courage.
Nice.
So those are the crystals. This here is called a selenite wand. This is my favorite. Selenite, you can't put it in water because it'll dissolve. So if anybody has one, normally you cleanse crystals in water. Selenite can't go in water. Selenite, it's kind of taken the place of a quartz crystal. A clear quartz is a natural healer, but the clear quartz will amplify the positive qualities, but it'll also amplify the negative qualities.
Right.
Selenite is a natural healer. It disperses any negativity, so it'll amplify the positive, but break down the negative. Anybody that has any type of pain, like if you get headaches, you can rub it on the back of your neck where that headache is. Or I get sciatica, so I use it on my back. I actually sleep with this beside my bed. So if the sciatica is bothering me in the morning, I'll rub it on my back, and it'll actually break down that blockage. And no, it won't get rid of the pain forever, I'm not going to lie, but it'll break it down so it makes it easier to move. If your arthritis is acting up and you rub it on that, it will break down that pain, that blockage, to make it easier, just to disperse the pain.
Excellent. And you mentioned before that when you were 20, you were introduced to the tarot cards. Mm-hmm. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what it is to read tarot? Can anyone do it?
Anyone can learn to read. One of the things I should say is people come in here all the time saying, "Oh, I hear tarot cards have to be a gift. You can't buy your own." I've been reading cards for over 20 years. Please buy your own cards. What happens is people they get stuck on this right way and the wrong way. You're going to end up getting 20 different decks of cards that you can't read with. The main thing with the tarot, pick cards that are easy to read, that resonate to you, so that when you look at them, you feel good. You see things. The second thing I tell people is throw away the book. Yes, it's nice to read it just to get a general idea, but you go with what feels right to you. I'm just, this card here. What would you, I'm going to show that. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's actually called the Five of Wands. That to me is a struggle within yourself. I don't care what the book says, and you can read 10 different books and it'll show 10 different meanings, but you've got to go by what you feel.
Yeah.
This card to me is a lawyer. Okay, so if you read the book, it's probably not going to say it's a lawyer. And the main thing is, don't start reading for other people. Read for yourself. Get to know your cards. And I sell tarot cards here, and I only sell the ones I read with, and they're decks that I'm familiar with, I'm comfortable with. That way, if people have them or they want to try them, they can buy the cards. If they get stuck, if they don't understand the meanings, they can come in and get help. One of the things with me that I like to do is if people buy things or people do things or people want to try things, I want them to be able to get answers. Anybody, you can go to Chapters and buy a deck of cards, but you're not going to get anybody that can help you with them. Because of what I do, I can help people.
Excellent. And on that note, about helping people, your motivation. So you were born with the gift of psychic ability, and now you've added, Reiki, crystals, herbs, tarot.
Yep.
What's your motivation?
The motivation is just wanting to help people. For me, it's a good feeling. When somebody loses a child or somebody loses somebody tragically and they're stuck in that place that they just can't get past it, I'll tell them, come in, talk to me. They can come in for reading. They can reconnect and get that closure, and that's what people need. Sometimes even, and it doesn't have to be about death, They'll lose their job. They'll be, say, I don't know, maybe a nurse for 20 years, and all of a sudden because of cutbacks or layoffs, and they feel so hopeless. And I can show them that there is hope. I can show them that there's a way to get around this, that it's not as bad as it looks. Or even people that say they're married, they're in an unhappy marriage and they want to leave that marriage, but they're trying to make a decision. I can show them if they stay or if they go. Ultimately it's everybody's choice. It's free will. But I can show them what it would be like if they stayed, what it would be like if they go. So it just kind of helps people realize there's more than just this option.
So people who feel boxed in, like, this is it, this is how it's going to be forever, by having a reading done, it just opens up the possibilities.
Yeah, and it's not about making a choice to leave a partner. It could be staying with that partner, but making the choice to develop you. A lot of people don't realize that. Right? Like, again, they're looking for the black and white answer, and there isn't one.
So what do you think about when you hear people say, oh, a psychic at the fair told me I was going to meet a blonde fellow with a Corvette, and
I usually say don't pay too much attention. One thing I am going to say about the cards, there has never been a time in 20 years of reading when I flipped a card. Everybody's afraid you're going to flip a card and you're going to see death and you're going to say, oh my God, you're going to die. 20 years of reading, I have never flipped a card and seen death for somebody, okay? It doesn't happen. Anybody that sits down and tells you you're going to meet a blonde-haired guy with a letter T in his name usually are not a good reader. They're not working from the right place. Same with mediumship. People that, I shouldn't talk about everybody, but for me, if you came to me for mediumship and I was going to read about somebody that had passed, I would connect to a father, a grandfather, a grandmother. I wouldn't connect to a great uncle. 10, do you know what I mean? 10 generations back, because you can't substantiate that. Anybody that's going to come through to me is going to come through with a message that you can substantiate, something that you can say, yes, I know that she's talking about my grandpa. I'll give you an example. I read for girls. I have a bunch of girls that come from Toronto. They come down on the GO train. And her father had passed away. And I don't want to get into too much about her reading. But what had happened, she said to me, how do I know it's my father? And when she asked that question, I saw a picture of a dog. And I said to her, did you have a dog? And she's like, no. And I said, the dog looks like a wolf, like a husky, like a wolf. And she started to cry. And she said, oh, that was my dad's pet name for me, was Wolfie. So it was his way of coming through to say, yes, it's me that she is talking to.
You must have, after 20 years of reading, you must have so many stories where you've actually touched so many lives. Do you have any that really stand out?
I do. Again, because of privacy, because of confidentiality, I'm very cautious what I say or what I talk about, but I'll talk about a couple. One, there was actually a cancer benefit going on, and I wasn't reading. I was just there with my son to help, to raise money to give to participate. And this guy had come up to me, and every time I do a show, there's always one specific person. And he had come up to me, and he had asked what I do. And for some reason, normally I don't tell people when I'm out like that what I do. And for some reason, I told him. And he came back about 3 or 4 times, and I knew he was struggling with an addiction problem. And he kind of said to me, he wanted to talk to me, and he's like, can I ask you something? And he's like, what do you see for me? And I told him, I said, I see an addiction problem. I see that you've just gotten out of jail. And I said, there's a good possibility you could go back. But I said, it's going to get worse. I said, you're right on the fence. And I told him, I'm seeing a blonde-haired girl, like hair about your height to here. And I'm seeing a younger girl with long blonde hair. And you're in a coffin and they're crying. And he come back about an hour later, and he's like, this is my girlfriend. This is my daughter. And they were the exact descriptions of what I had given him. And I know I was meant to be there that night for him to be able to give him that message. Look, it's either going to go this way or this way, and he's got the choice to make it happen. And I hope what I gave him was enough to make him go this way instead of back into the drugs, back into the addiction. And I've never seen him again, so I don't know. Like, that's one of the hardest things is you don't get the follow-up. I get a ton of customers that come in, a ton of clients that come in that'll call me and say, oh my God, you were right, or oh my God. But it's people like that, you don't always get the feedback back. And sometimes I wish I could. So if he ever sees this, please call me and tell me.